Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Tonight, our guest is an author that I just love. I mean, I have read all four of her books, and one of my favorite books is Chasing the Rainbow. She is a woman that does organization into the pagan community with Pagan Unity. She has 3 children and, of course, 6 grandkids. She's been married for 25 years to the same man. And she is a tarot card reader. Besides an author, she does Reiki. She is a woman of many hats. So, to further ado, may I please introduce you to Tish Owen. Hi.
Hi.
So, I see you in the background, just happy as can be. So, yeah. Well, no, I have read your books. Of course, it's been a long time ago. One of the books that spell it correctly is a very good book for your coven mates when you're doing coven work.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. We actually told our coven members to get your book and read it, because in the book, I mean, you said so well. I mean, it was really well said on how you do spells correctly and everything. And I just love that book. How about a follow-up? Have you ever thought about doing any kind of follow-up on your
Working
book?
on one now. Okay, so spell it correctly. To explain a little bit, the tiny little minuscule bit I know about the publishing business.
Mm-hmm.
When you go with a publisher, that book is no longer your book. Okay, it's out of your hands. And my publisher that I had used for Chasing the Rainbow and for Spell It Correctly, decided to go out of the publishing business. So it took a long time to get my stuff back. They gave it back to me, which a lot of publishers don't. Okay.
That's good.
But they gave it back to me. And so it's just been this really weird challenge to try and get Spell It Correctly back in print. And so now Wicca Press, which is ATC, which is Belladonna Laveau, they've got it. So I'm like, I'm tired of fiddling with it, because self-publishing is a pain in the ass too. So I've got a spell book that I'm working on. So I got 3 books right now, so I can't die because to get these books done. So I've got a spell book coming. I've also got a book on it's becoming a book on death and dying. It wasn't to begin with, but my best friend of 50 years died. And if I have in the world a soulmate next to my husband, it was her. And so I cannot tell you how devastating it was. I did crazy. The morning of, I went into the bathroom and cut my hair with nail clippers. I just like that. That's that level of just grief. Okay. And so I decided that I would write her a letter every day in order to channel that grief out of me and put it into the cosmos. And then her daughters asked me if I would do the eulogy. And up to the day of her funeral, I kept saying, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I cannot stand in a Catholic church in front of 400 people, and I can't do it. And so now it has become this book on death and dying. I revisited it. I'm like, this is not a book. It's a book on death and dying. So yes. So spell book, yes. Death and dying, yes, because we don't handle it well in society. And the third in my murder mystery books. So, and I have a funny
the Family and Death on Sunday book,
right? Yes, I've got a third one coming. And my funny story about that is, okay, I look worse than I thought I did when I looked in the mirror. Okay,
you look
God,
beautiful.
okay. looking real witchy tonight, baby. Um, and so somebody who owns a store and they promote it. They said this is the
Mhm.
Death in the Family, and there was a description. It's a book on death and dying. It takes you through. I'm like, no, it's a murder mystery. Y'all need. So I sent a
Mhm.
note. I'm like, you need to look at the back of the jacket before you. And they're like, oh my god! It's the way they fixed it. But it was hilarious. I was laughing about it. So that Death in the Family is not a book on death and dying. It's a book on people killing people. And yeah, so yeah.
So,
So anyway, so yes, so that was a really, really long answer for that really short question. So yes, I have thought of a sequel
nope, that's fine.
coming.
Um, with chasing rainbows, somebody when I was doing Pagan Pride, and gosh, um, this was probably 2009 when I started doing Pagan Pride.
Okay.
In 2010, somebody gave me your book and says, "Hey, um, this is a book about organizing events." And at first, I'm like, "Well, gee, thanks. I'm not very good at it, huh?" The person goes, "I think you do a great job, but I thought maybe this. I just want to give this book to you because I don't really know you, but I've been to your events, and I want to show you appreciation. So this is a book that I want to give you."
Uh,
And I thought it was sweet. So on the way home, I was starting reading it, and I couldn't put it down. I was like, "Oh wow, wow," making notes and everything. So yeah,
oh,
the book.
that makes me so happy. That was my
Well,
first book.
uh, it was really good book, and it had a lot of advice in it and everything, and a lot of stuff that I reread that book probably 3 years ago. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago when I did my last event because I don't do events anymore now.
Mm.
And when I read that book, I'm just like, oh, wow, how much I have changed from the first event I did of Pagan Pride to, well, the last event we did was Mother Earth Gathering, which
Right.
um, I kind of just made that up with, because
That
Pagan
works.
Pride, right? Yeah. And, I wish I had that back in the late 90s, that book, because I could have used it back then too. It was a really good book. So, with that being said, I know we talked about 2 months ago. You was doing pagan unity, honey. We was doing pagan unity,
Hi,
like
honey.
house. We was doing you was doing pagan unity, June 16th through the
Right.
22nd. How did that turn out?
Oh, it turned out fine. Um,
Oh,
so
great.
I mean, we always have a good time. So we had a great time. We did something we've never done before because a lot of people wanted it. So we have
Mhm.
themes because I don't know why, but we started out having a theme. So our theme was Dungeons and Dragons, which I don't know. Well, I don't know why, but it was. Next year's the Labyrinth, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, the Labyrinth!" Anyway,
Oh,
so we did something we'd never done before because people were like, we had troubadours all over the site singing. So everywhere you went, there was music.
mhm.
And then we did a talent show. And so you could do anything you wanted to in a talent show. And one of the little girls that's 10 did jump rope.
Oh, that's precious.
It was precious. It was precious. And so, we had quests. We had a sword fighter. Um, you had to go to the witches, the trickster, the mermaids, and the bards. And
Oh,
you had to ask a question, answer a question, and they were all like what are the four corners, and those kinds of questions, right? Um, and then they would give you a gold coin. It was chocolate, and so whoever got the most coins, you got prizes, and so the kids all ate their chocolate, and so that was kind of their prize, which was hilarious. But I had a group of adults, 6 adults, who brought 19 coins, and so we gave them all the prizes. So it was that. We love the site. Our site is new. It's not really Middle Tennessee. It's more Western. I mean, it's more, yeah, it's more West Tennessee. But
mhm.
the cabins are very nicely appointed. They've all been redone. They have air conditioning and heat. Yeah, and we have a lake, and So we had a good time. I mean, we always do everything, it all shakes out at the end, right? Where you go, okay, everybody
Right.
did okay. There were no accidents, no injuries. And we thank God for that, even though we had them out there fighting with swords. They were foam swords, just so you know. Um,
Oh,
and
yeah.
my son was the sword master, so they had to fight him. And I just laughed at him because some of the kids who are on staff now were the little kids fighting him
Oh.
like 15 years ago. So it's just funny. But he said on Saturday night, he's like, man, I'm really beat. And I said, well, you fought about 20 kids and about 6 adults. And he's like, yeah. And I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm like, well, shut up. None of us are. But, uh, um, okay. So my husband, I don't know what to say about him. Hold on. One.
Okay. That's okay. My grandson came in here and goes, "I love you, Grandma. I love you." I was like, "I'm on the podcast. I don't care. I love you." Oh, okay, I think we probably froze up
I
here.
did. I
We
did.
did. There we go. Okay. Hey,
Oh, that was
all good.
crazy. Okay.
Oh, it's all
Um,
good. We do that sometime.
okay. Am I back? I can enter studio. I'm gonna hit enter studio. Okay, I'm back. I don't
Oh,
know. Whatever happened.
yep. Just hang on. Let me take you off this one and add you here. There we go.
All right.
There you go. You're good. You're good. Um, I've been on your Facebook. Um, I'm on your Goddess in the Moon, and of
Right.
course your personal Facebook. I really like it that you do a card a week. I look forward to that. Um, I love to look at my future guest or even my guests or just people that I adore as authors and thing, and you learn so much, you know.
Well, yeah, you want to know what you're dealing with.
Yeah,
Right.
and with the card a week, I really enjoy it because even, it's like, because when you do your own cards sometimes, you're too
Right.
close. You're so close to yourself and everything. So you second guess yourself, like, no, that's not it. That's not the reading. But when you have somebody else who does it, not just for you, but just, for everyone, it makes sense. It does, it kind of like clicks to you and everything, especially the ones that you have been doing lately. Yes, have been really on point. Now, you do have
Oh, cool.
business that you do readings too, right? You do readings and Reiki and
Past
past
life
life.
regression, soccer bouncing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, where's this business located at?
I am at 640 Spence Lane. I'm in an office building. I'm a number Suite 120.
Hmm.
So in Nashville.
In Nashville, yes. And you don't know how to play guitar yet? I
No. I
saw
did
that.
take good. I took guitar lessons when I was young, uh, but it hurt my fingers. And my first husband and I sang and we did shows and
Mhm.
that kind of thing. But I always sang. Sometimes I would use a tampering, but no guitars.
I saw that in your bio, and I just had a good laugh on that because I thought, oh, that's cool. So, um, when is there any advice? I should say, is there any advice that you can give those who are starting the path that you wish you have known years ago when you started the path?
That it's going to be harder than you think. That not everybody is going to love you. That not all your relatives are going to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first started and I found the goddess, I was like, oh, this is it. What I've looked for my whole life. And so I was so happy that I thought everybody would be happy for me. No.
Yep. Yeah.
So you have to be brave enough to go, well, I'm going to do this anyway.
Yeah.
And then find your people.
Yep. That's true. that's one thing when we didn't actually start it, our coven. It kind of started itself. Um,
Yeah, as
it's just
happens.
yeah, it just happens, and the goddess actually gave us the name too of the coven of the Blessed Lady. That
Oh, I love that.
she just kind of whispered in my ear and says, I gave you a spiritual family. I'm blessed, so are you. So yeah. So it just stuck all these years, over 30 years. Um with because I know when we first started the coven, the students are like, we want others like us,
Hmm.
you know, because we live in the Midwest. Kind of like it's kind of tough. I tell you that
Right.
much. And so having pagan events you go to is was awesome. It was great and everything. And I know years later your book, with your book came out and stuff, it was fantastic. And you're doing pagan events now. So how long you been doing the pagan unity?
Pagan. This was 20. Hang on. 28. It was 28.
I'm trying. What would you tell people how to? Because to me, I think of you as not just only an author, but like a badass pagan organizer. you know?
Oh, thank you.
uh, what would you say to others on how to start a pagan event? And she's gone again. So hang on, folks. She'll be right back. So we're all taking questions too as well. And Kat, I see your question. I will get that when she comes back. And let me see this. I think this is a frozen one of hers. Let me see here. Hang on. Yeah, I think that's frozen. Okay. Let's see if we can get her back, folks. Okay. Um, yeah, I know when you tell your family about you having a different path, um, you tend to lose some of your family and friends. Uh, Here we go. You're back. We
Operator error, I'm sure, honey.
Oh, that's okay. We do. Let me see. So, Kat is saying that that's why she told her family that I was worshiping with friends in the living room in the old way. They assume like the early Christians, who honestly isn't far off.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, that is correct and everything. But back to the question about, how would you tell somebody to get started? Because I was kind of like pushed into it. Somebody says, I'm not doing this no more. You take over.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, okay.
And so I was pushed into
Thanks.
it. And I'm just like, I was like a scared rabbit, like, what the heck am I doing?
Well,
So I
just so
just
everybody knows,
say,
we all were like that in the beginning. And so if you're like that, it's okay. So now it's easier because we have Facebook,
yeah,
we have Instagram, we have the witches of TikTok. We got all that, right? Which you didn't have none of that when I was started this nonsense. Um, but go to a bookstore, and if you're fortunate, you'll find a
mhm,
metaphysical bookstore in your area. And there will be something on the bulletin board. There will be meetings. There will be covens. There will be. That's where you start. To me, that's the best
mhm.
way. Now, will it work the first time? Probably not. It's like your first marriage. It probably won't work out. But anyway, uh,
Yes.
right. So I think I've been in one, two, no, only two covens. Because right now, what I'm doing, I'm working with the ATC, Crayon Tabernacle Church, and so we are a church. But
Mhm.
so it's a little different. But you have to find something that works for you and something that fits you.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
if it feels like, oh my God, this is like when I first started, I was invited to a group, and I guess it was a coven. I don't remember if it was or not, but they met at the Unitarian Church, which a lot of covens do. and it
Mhm.
was all women, and I was so excited. Oh my God. I like made a casserole, and I was just like, I was buzzing. It
Mhm.
was the most disappointing night possibly of my life. Okay. It was awful. They didn't do anything. They didn't call quarters. They didn't call circle. They didn't do any of that stuff. They sat around for 2 hours and whined and pissed and moaned and belly ached about their lives.
Oh
And
my.
I cried all the way home. I got
Oh.
home and I told Patrick, I'm like, that was the most miserable night I've ever, because my anticipation was so ramped up. So,
Mhm.
so you try again. And then, there was another one and I was like, um, it had a lot of components that I liked.
Mhm.
I did not appreciate the person who was the high priest who thought that he should be able to tell us what to do. And I said, if I wanted a man to tell me what to do, I'd go back to Catholic Church.
Yeah.
So that was a bust. So there was a couple that I sampled and tried and whatever. And then I'm like, let's just do this thing, right? I got Star Hawk. Let's just do this thing. So I started Witches of the Woods, and Witches of the Woods was, I always say it was a coven of grown-ups
Mhm.
who were willing to work on their own, study on their own. We came together, we did news and folds, and we did the Sabbaths, and we were fortunate in that one of our members had a place in the country where we could do rituals and have a fire pit and not, have people come over and go, "What y'all doing?" Um,
Yeah.
and so, because I've had that experience too, so you have to keep trying. It's like cooking.
Yeah.
Okay, you know how to cook when you start out. So maybe you
Right.
put too much salt in it, maybe put too much flour in it, maybe it's an experiment, and
Mhm.
you have to keep trying until it tastes just right.
Yep. That's why my husband always, because when somebody asks us, oh, you guys do such great work. How do you do it? And my husband always comes up and says, we got the cookie cutter just perfect and we're not changing it. So,
Exactly.
yes, because once you get something that goes well, don't try to change it. You can add on to it to see if something
Right.
works out,
Add
like
a little
sprinkle
cinnamon, add a little bit more, okay, yeah.
sugar
So yeah.
maybe. Yeah, but don't change it. So
Don't
yeah,
change it. Just
that
keep
yeah,
just keep going. But no, so
yeah.
it is to me, it's trial and error. And I've seen those covens where it was very rigid, very almost like a Gardnerian sort of, you didn't
Mhm.
question anything, you do with that. You went to her house on Saturday and cleaned her windows. That I'm like, how
Yeah.
come I can't you may clean my damn windows? I never understood that. Um, but are you learning if they're spoon feeding it to you?
Right.
Here's recommendations. I have a book list. Here's the book list. All right. And so when I do actual year and a day, we start out and I'm like, here's the book list. We're going to read a book a month. Bless your heart if you can't read fast. So get it on audio.
Yeah.
Whatever you have to do, make notes.
Mhm.
But you, like I've also seen in covens where you can't read any books except the books that we tell you can read. What
Yeah.
is this? Am I in grade school? Um, because no. Um, so I think that you have to find what works for you and
Right.
to go, okay, so yeah, we all meet in the woods and drink ripple and make bonfire and dance around. And that
Mhm.
works for you. That good. You need to do that. That's all
Mhm.
good. I don't drink ripple, but anyway, that's my example. But I mean, it has to, I mean, it's like people who are Christians who go to church
Yeah.
and they look for a church that works for them.
Mhm.
Or they should look for a church that works for them. So
Right.
back in the day, after Vatican II, when the mass became in English and they turned the altar around as the priest was looking at you, which I always thought that was interesting and probably good. There were so many people because they wanted that mass in Latin and they were church hopping any church that had the mass in Latin until there were no more churches that had the mass in Latin. So whatever. I'm so sorry for you. Maybe there. Whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know. But
No, what you're talking about, covens, is absolutely correct because we never came from a coven. It just started.
right,
In
organically.
coven, yeah, and so we didn't know what the hell we was doing. Actually, we did. And, you know, we wasn't prepared to teach. We wasn't
No,
going
come
to.
on. No, come on. I'm sorry. I'm not
We
talking to you.
want oh, that's good. We want a solitary life, and the goddess just kind of guide us into a coven, which now it's like I don't know how to be solitary. I like to be in the coven. So,
Right.
uh,
Well, it's nice, isn't it?
yeah, it is. And my husband and I always tell our students, what we tell you is how we learn. You go out there and you research this topic, bring it to us next time and tell us, hey, you know, how about adding this on? Or
Right.
what is this? So how we did is we researched together as a coven to see if we can get a better answer to the question we have, you know. And it's I it must work because we're still standing.
30
So,
years, you're doing something right. Well, no,
yeah.
I think that, that it's nice if you, hi, baby, go to other groups and see how they do. Go to festivals.
Yes,
Okay.
I
Go
agree.
to festivals and see how other people do whatever
Mhm,
it is they're doing. Um, and you're gonna like when we do Pagan Unity Festival, we try to have different kinds of pagans do the rituals. So you
mhm,
can see what a garden, well, not a Gardnerian because they don't play. But what do the Druids look like, and what do the heathens look like, and what do straight up Wiccans look like,
mhm.
and so you kind of get a feel of that, and people are can meet other people and go, I really like your group. Can I maybe come to
Yeah.
your group, right? And
Mhm.
so you get to see how other people do it, and I think that's incredibly important,
Oh, yeah.
especially if you're in some kind of repressed. God, I hate to use that word, a repressed coven, where there's all these rules. And what I've learned is that the more rules there are, the further away from God you are. So that's just my opinion. Um,
I'm glad you
but
said that because we really didn't have no rules except like if you break something, buy it.
yeah,
You
if you break something, fix it, right?
Yeah, just simple rules, of course, no drugs, no cigarettes in circles, or, don't come drunk or anything like that. Just the basic ones that is, you know, no brainers, common sense. Um,
Yeah, you
we've done
would think maybe, but
maybe, yes.
um, so we used to have big circles like in the parks and stuff,
Mhm,
and so we had the altar. The altar was after ritual. Circle had been taken down. There was still one candle on the altar. So the god and goddess had been extinguished, but there was one candle for whatever reason. And this guy rose up and lit his cigarette off that altar candle. And I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to physically expire.
That's very disrespectful, yes. Um,
We had words
yeah,
about it.
yeah, we have some people that will come to the full moon, like in a public area,
Mm.
and smoke a cigarette into the circle. And it's like, no, we stop
No,
it and say, no, you don't do that.
no,
You know,
be outside. Be far away where it doesn't walk
yeah,
in. I
yeah,
kind of miss doing the outside ones, but um, it's either, I swear to God, it's either cold, hot, or raining here all the time. So I'm not sure what we're doing inside rituals. I've got a friend who has got a piece of land. It's only about 20 minutes out of Nashville. So I feel like when he gets his act together on his land, we'll probably go out there at least spring and fall, right? Because it's
mhm,
got a creek. It's really good. But then you look at, okay, so this is his house. So do you need to be careful about who, I mean, all that kind of stuff. You don't want somebody rolling up to the altar and lighting a cigarette. Um, but we still, even now, it's 2025, we still
mhm,
have to be careful what we do, how we do it, especially because we're seeing an uptick in,
mhm.
Christian love.
Yeah,
I've got more people on security, um, with, with bear spray, um, because
mm,
because of this, because of the threats, because of the whatever. But you also have to remember that most of the people are cowards too. So,
yeah,
but Um, Ed Hubbard. Ed Hubbard posted something the other day. I think he likes to just post things that are maybe controversial, right? And so he's like, are you worried? I can't remember. I wish I could tell you exactly, but it's on his Facebook page. And basically, are you worried because there's this uptick and can we expect violence against us at Halloween?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's don't stir that particular cauldron.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, but I'm in the South, so there's been the trunk or treat BS for however long that's been, which is very annoying to me because that has always been and continues to be my favorite holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure. And so yeah, there's always been that. Witches are evil, and like one of my grandkids came home. He was like 8 or 9, and he was so upset. I'm like, "What's the matter with you?" Well, one of the girls in my class told me that I was evil because my birthday was Halloween. I said, "Really?" Okay. I said, "You go back to school tomorrow and you tell her that your grandmother is a witch. And if she says another word to you, she's going to see what evil looks like." He said, "Can I really?" "Yes, you need to go and do that tomorrow." So there was never any more trouble. But anyway, but I love Halloween. And so my husband is a Mason, and we stand at the Mason Hall and we give away, I think 10,000 pieces of candy. Because on one of those streets, it's got big houses, everybody decorates, everybody's in the spirit, right? And so all these little kids, and oh my God, it's the best thing ever. So do I think that we'll see an uptick? I don't think particularly for violence. They're not going to do away with Halloween. That'd be stupid. That's ridiculous. But because it makes $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I forgot what the industry brings, but it's somewhere in astronomical amounts. But we might see a little bit more of that kind of drive-by hating than we have in the past. I mean, we have, but for the most part, people that drive by and yell at you that you're going to hell are cowards anyway.
Yep.
So I think we should not be afraid of them. Yes, that's just my opinion. So
no, I really agree. I had at one Pagan Pride, I had someone who, he met us one time and he just, he liked us and everything. We talked, and then all of a sudden I didn't know what the deal was, but he threatened to take my life.
Honey, baby.
And my husband's like, "Well, maybe we should cancel Pagan Pride." And I'm like, "Oh
no,
never."
No.
I'll go, I'm fine. Nobody's going to kill me, really. I mean, you think they will, And the police in the city that was doing Pagan Pride in didn't take it really seriously or anything.
Right.
So, fortunately for us, we had a coven brother and sister that was in MC. I don't want to call them a gang, but group.
What's the matter?
So, so they say, "We gotcha." So, they stay there. They came and, they stayed the whole time to make sure it was
okay. I know, you don't look for stealing for a second. Come here. Hang on just a minute. Okay.
Oh, no problem.
Because this one's up in my lap, so we have to.
Oh, cutie. Hi, baby.
This is one I've got too. She's outside. She's the whiner, but he's like, "Oh, you're doing something? Let me come and sit on your lap." But he can't jump up anymore.
Yep.
Because he's 19. So anyway, go ahead with your story. So they came and they said, "Don't worry, we got your back."
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, they came to say, "We got, you've got your back." And then we had they call it Brotherhood of Steel. It was a fencing outlet.
Oh yeah.
Showing us, do a demonstration. And they're like, "Don't worry, we got your back too, So I had guys with swords, guys, big, big guys just kind of like following me around and everything. And nothing happened. And, I told my husband, I go, "See, I'm okay. Nothing happened."
But Chrissy, something could have happened.
Something could have happened.
And so you protected yourself, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I did protect myself. I just have faith in the gods that nothing was going to happen because.
Well, I do too.
I figure if something happened to me, who in the hell is going to organize events anymore?
They can't let you die. You must live. Right. No, and that's true though. But I agree. I mean, every year at Pagan Pride, which I don't organize because my husband will kill me if I do more than one thing. But anyway, and they do a great job. But we always have this in a public park, and that they've used it for I don't know, 8 or 9 years, I guess.
Mhm.
And so every year, Christians show up handing out tracts. So the last time that happened, and somebody walked in my booth to hand me a tract, I said, "You are in the wrong place and at the wrong time. You need to turn around and walk away from me." The next thing that happened is one of the rangers came up and said, "It's a, I can't remember if it was $150 or $250 fine for every one of those you hand out." And she's like, "Oh, but we're spreading the word of Jesus." And he's like, "You are littering." And man, they were gone so quick. I mean, it was like they evaporated. It was hilarious. So,
Um,
yeah.
we only had one incident where we had somebody that had a sign about Jesus. Just one person, not a group, just one person.
Right.
He had a walkie-talkie that he was talking on. So I don't know.
Right.
That's,
Not that he really was talking to anybody. Maybe he was
yeah,
talking to Jesus.
but he might. And I know he had the sign. The sign said, but we had Raven Gamasi and his wife out there as guests
Loved Raven.
one year. Yes, bless
Yeah.
them. And everybody was just, we told her, well, we had this one guy who uh that was vending, and he was ready to fight. And
Right.
my husband's like, he ran up there and he goes, "No, we do not fight these people. No, we show them love and everything." And then Raven walked up and was trying to talk to him and everything. He wasn't talking. He wouldn't say anything to
No, you
us.
said a little sign, right? Well, he
Just
might
this
be
time.
contaminated,
So, it
right?
was just yeah, it was just strange. But something that really warmed my heart is all the vendors. We had probably about 40 of them. I said 40, 45.
Yeah.
They left their booth and they walked around this guy, chanting, I think we all came from the goddess. And I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
walked for probably 45 minutes until this guy left.
And there
And
you go. That's how you do it.
I know, and I'm just like, that I'm glad that we showed him love and
Right.
everything, and no one really got physical or anything like that. And
Well,
Raven,
yeah.
Raven was there. He joined in to him and his wife, and it was just a great moment.
It was a
So
great moment.
yeah, so moments like that is something that you really take away on what we are about. You know, we're not evil, you know, we are full of love, and that's one thing I love about doing it with events that I do miss.
Oh, I mean, I've said a bunch of times that Puff this year, for whatever reason, it just felt like a love fest.
Yeah.
Everybody was like so glad to see. I mean, it was like like a reunion. Everybody was so glad to see everybody. Everybody's hugging,
Mhm.
and it was like a love fest, and it was. It
Yes.
was, I mean, we always have good energy. It was
Yep.
ramped up this year.
Mhm.
I'm not sure why, but I'll take it. Um, but I mean, the Christians, sometimes you can reason and sometimes you can't.
Right.
So we did a food drive, and we had probably at least 100 pounds of like cans and stuff. My thought was that we would give it to a local food bank and create some goodwill in the community of
Mhm.
Henderson, or Toone, Tennessee. And so when I called looking for somebody to donate it to,
Mhm.
I had one call back, and it was I forgot what it was, but it didn't say it was in a church. I should have done my research more carefully. But anyway, but that it was it was connected to, it was like a satellite of Second Harvest.
Mhm.
So they're like, "Oh yeah." I said, "Well, we'll bring it. We're down here in the park and whatever and blah blah." So she calls me back 20 minutes later. "We can't take your food." I said, "Excuse me. We're
Oh,
Christian. I'm aware of that.
oh
And
my.
it's against our religion." I said, "So giving food to hungry people is against your religion?
What did
Really?"
Jesus do? What did
Okay.
Jesus do though?
I said, "So you've got people who are hungry, and I said, "What do you think, that we witched all over the cans?" So, you know
Oh,
what?
okay.
You have the kind of day you deserve. And I hung up. And
Yeah.
then we ended up, so Memphis, we're about an hour and 15 or 20 out of Memphis. My mother-in-law goes to a church, a Methodist church in Memphis. She's
Mhm.
102. Okay.
Mhm.
So my husband had to take um Christopher Penzac to the airport in Memphis, right? So while he was there, he went over to St. Luke's. Give a shout out to St. Luke's in Memphis. and said, "Hey, I got all this food. This is from Pagan Unity Festival. This is from the pagans. Will you
Mhm.
take it?" "Oh, yes, we'll be happy to take it." So the Methodists took our food. All right,
Good.
so there you go. So you run into that and you pivot because, the next thing I thought, well, if we can't find anybody that will take it, I didn't think about St. Luke's until later. I'll just put it on the street corner in Henderson with a sign on it that says free food, right?
Yeah.
Somehow or another, this will get into people's hands. So, but you can't let that upset you. I mean, I had to get and walk away for about 5 minutes to kind of get a handle back on my
Recompose yourself.
anger, right? To recompose myself.
Mhm.
And then we found another way to do it. But I'm going to give you 100 pounds of food for people that
Yeah.
are hungry in your community, and you can't take it because we're witches.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bet a hungry child doesn't care where it comes from. They don't
That's
care if the
right.
Satanists bring it to them. They don't care, right? As long
Oh,
as they
yeah.
get to eat something. So anyway, so you've got that, and we have to it's got to run. You got to let it run off your back like water off a duck's back. You just have to.
Mhm.
Um, and so I mean, did we have? We had a couple of people that came up to the gate that wanted to they drove by. You're all going to hell. Thank you very much. All right, you have a nice day. Um, and then one guy who got off his motorcycle to quote Bible scripture. Now, most of us, as you well know, have come out of Christian background.
Mhm.
Most of us can quote Bible right back at you. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
I went to Catholic school. I studied Bible for a year as a subject when I was
Mhm.
in high school. So I can quote some stuff at you. But anyway, so he's quoting whatever, and she quoted right back at him, and he got so mad that he got, after telling her that she was going to hell, got back on his motorcycle and rode off. But that was so, you know.
Yeah, I don't quite understand, not belittling the Christian beliefs or anything, no. Um, you know, but to me, if they're gonna preach about their path, they need to walk their path,
Thank
and they
you.
don't, and they don't. I mean, I my husband was a youth minister one time, and, he quit because it just wasn't for him, but anyway, long story. But, the thing is that, they talk so bad about us sometimes, and I
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Excuse me, are you supposed to judge? Are you supposed to take these foreign people and kick them out of the country?" Because there's a verse in the Bible
Yes, there is.
that says, because we are foreign, every one of us are. And it's just doesn't make sense. Or like the pipeline, when the pipeline was into effect, there's a scripture about us being the stewards of the earth.
Right.
And I'm just like, don't you guys read this? You know?
No, they cherry pick it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they do. And it's just, and then you talk bad about us, it's like, oh, please, don't even talk to me because, I can go head to head with you too, on this. And, it's just, yeah, even when somebody comes to the door, um, always, because I moved to a new area. So I'm new person in town of 800 country town.
Wow.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Two churches. So,
I'm
and
surprised there's not more.
I know, really. And I know when they came up to me, and it was coming like probably every day, for about a week. And I just, the first time I didn't answer, the second time is like, yeah, I gotta say something, And then the third or fourth time, I started talking about Lilith and Adam and just different things,
Hi, honey.
And they just looked at me
Oh,
and like, "You're crazy. Don't you read the Bible?" And I was like, excuse me? Don't you read?"
thank you, baby.
So
Okay.
they don't show up anymore because I just told them, "Hey, look, I'm a witch. I appreciate it if you don't come around unless you want some tea. If you want a cup of tea, come on in and we can talk shop.
We can talk shop. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, they don't come around anymore. I know my daughter, because I live with her, and the 4 grandkids, and to help her out because her husband's a carpenter. And she always says, "Mom, you can't be open." I'm like, "Why can't I?"
Why not? What are they going to do about it?
Yeah, I taught your kids to be open. I got a tattoo
Right.
that
Right.
everybody knows who I am, and they haven't said anything. I go, the kids will be fine. Don't worry. I've been down this road before with my 4 kids. I got you, So
That's my only objection is, why do we have to go down that road?
right. We shouldn't.
I don't care what you are. Whatever
Right.
you are, be a good one at it. Okay.
Yep.
My mother, who lived to be 100 years old, was a Christian, and she was a good Christian. She prayed
Mhm.
for everybody. People would call and ask her to pray for them because she had a pipeline.
Mhm.
When she died, I'm trying to think how old my cousin was, but she was like 14, 15, maybe.
Mhm.
And she looked at her mother and she said, "Who's going to pray for us now?" Right? So I know that, isn't that awesome? But be good at it. Be a good one. Don't. I have a cousin that's a member of a church here in Nashville, and it's a great one of those great big churches.
Mhm.
And they spent $1 million. You ready? They spent $1 million on their playground,
Oh my.
and he was so proud of it. But I, being who I am, I looked at him and I said, "And how many hungry children did we feed?"
Exactly. Or how many hungry dogs that's out there?
Dogs
Dogs,
and cats. I don't
cats.
care. Right, right. But
Yeah,
$1 million on a playground, really?
yeah, that's pretty sad. It really is. And, I think that's one thing, I do like doing events. I done for 27 years, but I retire when the COVID hit, because there was no park wanting to because
The
of
COVID did
the
a whole lot of bad stuff to us.
right,
That's true,
it did.
right?
And so then my stepdad passed away, so we had to move back here from Colorado. Um,
Oh,
I know, it's so sad. I miss the mountains terribly. And I know when we moved back here, um, because we originally started in Iowa in the Midwest for pagan events. So when I moved
what
back
is
here,
that?
it's like
Where was it?
everybody started
Huh?
saying, "Oh, they started messaging me like, when's our next pagan event?" And I'm just like, my stepdad just
Well,
passed
well,
away like 6 months ago. And I'm moving back, and you want a pagan event? So,
right.
and I was like, I'm like, I just couldn't do it no more. I feel like the community takes advantage of you sometimes. Have
Well,
you ever felt
they
that way?
get dependent. I don't know if it's an advantage, but they definitely get dependent on the people who do it. But I'm going to tell you this though, that first of all, I agree with that. But I was married to the choir director. My husband's brought me a whole bag of food, including a banana. Um, Thanks, honey. I was married to the choir director of the largest Catholic church in Nashville, in
Mhm.
in the diocese. So okay, um, and it's the same 6 people that do everything. That
Yeah.
they organize whatever there is. They organize the auctions. They bring the flowers for the altar. They wash all the garments. They do the carnival. It's the same 6 people,
Yeah.
and so that's not paganism. That's human nature,
Yep.
and so that's why you have to go. Come here. Okay,
Yes.
you're in charge. So my favorite thing to say to people when they say, "Oh, I've got this idea," and blah 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 blah, and I say, "That is a great idea. You be in charge of it."
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So
my yep. I have said that many times. I like doing the podcast a lot better because I'm on my terms. I don't have to worry about anybody or
right, and they're
anything.
fun.
No
It's fun.
insurance. So
Well,
yeah,
as long
it's
as it's fun for
fun.
you. I mean, that's
Yeah, it really
okay.
is fun. It really is. I really, enjoy doing it. I miss the community, organizing events, but I do enjoy doing it and everything. So, and you
Okay.
know, it's just okay. So anyway,
Anyway,
What's the new projects you are coming up with now?
Well, funny you asked this question. So I have a I had a shop for 25 years, and uh, my 96-year-old, my 95-year-old mother moved in with us. My husband had a leg amputated. There was it was something had to go.
Mhm.
There was chaos, reigns in the universe.
Yeah.
And so now I'm in an office space. So I've been there for I just signed the year for year 5 on the new lease.
Mhm.
And then I've got some other friends who are psychics, and I only deal with the ones that I feel like are good.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Man, we'd love to have a place to read or whatever." I'm like, "Well, we might could do that." So we're having a grand unveiling on Saturday of the Goddess in the Moon, a psychic boutique, so that you can come,
Ooh.
because I kind of come and go as I want to make my own schedule.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, what I have found is that when somebody wants to read and they want it right now, you got to have it.
Mhm.
So there'll be somebody there every day. So that's new. And then we're looking at some fundraising ideas for Puff. Not for
Yeah.
Puff for operational costs, not for land,
Mhm.
because we want our own land so that we
Right.
will have a place of sanctuary.
Yeah.
And we want I've got somebody who is going to do who writes grants, which
Mhm.
is the only way to ever get the money. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
people are giving you $10 a month, or 20. You're never going to get the $500,000 that you've got to have in order to buy this piece of land and make it be viable. So we're
True.
looking at grants. So a lot of irons in the fire, right? So Saturday
Ah.
we're having our grand unveiling, which you were here, and because we're gonna have snacks, and we've got 3 or 4 events that we're planning to have for uh, to raise a little money here and there,
Mhm.
just to kind of defray our costs, because
Yeah.
it costs a lot of money to put on a festival,
Right.
right? It costs a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So
It does. It
it
does.
does. So as you
Mm.
well know,
Oh, yeah.
um, I don't know what our time frame is here. My battery is down to 14%. I just wanted to warn you of that.
Oh, we're about done here in about 5, 10 minutes
All right.
and everything. My battery's on that last I had a interview before this
Mm.
with, the grandson of Ed and Lorraine Warren. So,
Oh, how
yeah,
interesting. I'm gonna have to go
it
watch
was
that one.
it was interesting, and we had fun with him. So, yeah, so my batteries I still got some time yet left, but yeah. But you do the psychic sessions and mediumship,
Right.
the Reiki, the chakras balancing, the past
Past
life,
5.
yeah, and then you do parties. So you do parties for a group that
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
Um,
awesome.
so I mean, we are the capital of the bridezilla world. Nashville is the number one destination of brides. I don't know why. I'd go to the beach, but anyway, I don't know what to tell you about that. So we do a lot of those, and done a lot in the industry, in the country music industry. I've done trade shows, which is always kind of interesting. The worst one I ever did was for the prison people. I can't think what the big prison. Does they own all
Mhm.
the prisons? Those people.
Yeah.
That what is it, honey? The CCA. This was the
Oh.
most depressing thing I ever did in my life. Uh, and so sometimes it'll be like a dozen. I do one once a year for a group of realtors. They all come to Nashville.
Mhm.
They rent an Airbnb, and they have me over, and they absolutely wring my brains out, because there's usually like 25 of them.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
doing 20, bam, 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 and they're all sitting around. They're drinking. We're having mai tais and whatever. Done them from Warner Brothers. Read for Taylor Swift's birthday party.
Oh.
Trisha Yearwood's first platinum album. Those kind of
Mhm.
things. So fun. It's tiring because you're doing one. I mean, just as fast as you can do them.
Yeah.
But those are always fun. So yeah, parties, and then I've got one bunch of women that have me out every 3 months.
Wow. I need to
And
live on the East Coast. Everything happens around the East Coast.
hey, I'm in the middle of Nashville, so honey,
So,
it's
yeah,
funny
well,
to me that I
that's
have
further
as much
east than
activity.
me.
I'm sorry.
Yes. I said that's farther eastern of what I am. I'm
Well, I
in
know, because you're way on out there.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you
So
guys, you're East Coasters. It's like, you guys have some fun. That's
It's fun to me. It's really funny that so many people like industry, like Warner Brothers, like
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that I've done, and whoever I can't remember who Trisha Yearwood's company was at that moment that we did her platinum party,
Mhm.
but it's just really funny that they find me. So, and then one of the companies that I work for, and they do parties, so they hire entertainment for parties, and so they
Okay.
always will come up to me and they'll say, "Try not to make anybody cry tonight."
Don't worry about the funny museum.
And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got to hug the good." He was Australian. One of the
Oh.
parties that I was at, and I read for this guy that was really pretty and young, and he said, "Can I hug you?" And he like grabbed me up and hugged me. I'm like, "Oh, I've never been hugged by an Australian before. That was nice."
Hug me again.
Hug me again, baby. I did Keith Urban's 40th birthday party. That was really interesting.
Mhm.
Nicole Kidman is not human.
Mhm.
No one can look like that and be human. She's the most beautiful person I've ever laid my eyes on. I think she's a fairy. So, so it's interesting, but usually it's just regular people that are having like birthday parties or weddings or.
Oh, my husband wants to say hi to you.
Hi,
Hey,
I've been watching you guys.
how are
You know
you?
what I'm doing fine. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Hey, I was watching your guys' show in the other room. You know, when you was talking about you're always busy and you're doing all these parties,
Yeah.
it's magic. The ladies letting you have fun in your life.
Yes.
I call it being blessed.
Aw.
He's always popping in sometimes. So.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, but I won't keep you because remember the 29th we do have another date
Right.
for Women's Talk with Judica, and I
Right.
think
Oh, I can't wait. I
and then
adore her.
yeah, oh, I do too. We had her on. I just love her. You know, one thing about doing this podcast, you kind of get starstruck. You know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
oh my gosh, um, getting better at it. If you look at the early ones, I'm like a basket case. But we're getting better. So,
Well,
but
we we
um,
we we had Penzak at Puff this year, and we haven't had him for about 5 years. And I worship the ground the man walks on. I
oh,
absolutely love him. And so I was
amen.
like, I can't wait for you to get here so I can hug you. And so my husband picked up him and Jason Mankey, whom I also love, at
Mhm.
the airport in Memphis, and he took him on a tour, and they had ribs and whatever. He kind of wined him and dined him. And they got back. It was late. It was like, I don't know, 9 o'clock or something. So they drove up, and I walked out and I looked at him. I said, "It's about damn time y'all got here, right?"
Christopher's a hell of a nice guy.
Oh my God, I
Yeah,
love him so
I
much.
am. I just love him. He's a cabin brother of mine as well as a teacher with the Temper of Witchcraft and everything. I
Right?
mean, he's awesome. He
He
is.
is. He absolutely is.
He really is. But for the audience, you will see Tish back with me and Judica and
Yay!
my youngest daughter, and also Reverend Spark, that is Selena Fox, minister for the
And
youth.
somebody else I'm in love with.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. I do too. And we will be back on the 29th. I think it's 8 o'clock. Yeah, 8
Okay.
o'clock.
Okay.
So, but I
Cool.
just say thank you, Tish, for
Oh, thank you.
and everything. We had a great talk. I just love it. And I be waiting for some new books coming out.
Okay. Cross your little fingers so we can get it done.
Yeah.
Kiss your husband for me and tell him thanks for popping in.
Oh, and tell
Oh,
your husband thank you for feeding you.
yes. Okay. So I'm getting ready to turn off. All right. So thank
Okay.
you so much. You have a great
Okay.
night. All right. Bye.
You too. Bye.